The one short that we have to talk about today is Ménilmontant,
Nice.
which is, as it sounds, a French film.
Yeah. And this where do we start with this? This movie is phenomenal. It's
Yes,
amazing.
I was very struck by this film. I didn't really know what to expect. I only knew about it because it was highly rated on Letterboxd. And it seemed like it was different from a lot of the other stuff that we had watched up to this point. And yeah, I don't want to get ahead of myself. This might be my favorite thing that we watched
Yeah.
for 1926.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's very good. It's a French film, but made by I guess, Russian-born filmmaker, Dmitry Kirnosov.
Mm-hmm.
I believe I'm saying that correctly. And yeah, it feels like it's like the confluence of like all the kind of recent advancements in like storytelling. Like this feels incredibly modern in terms of its like cinematography and its editing and its storytelling.
Honestly, it feels more than modern. When I was watching Ménilmontant, I was thinking, movies these days would never do something this adventurous.
Unless it's a animated Spider-Man movie.
Right. It is doing things with the camera, with the editing that are so evocative of mood and feeling and just like getting a sense of a scene through kind of artful, formal editing. It's the kind of thing that you don't even see in movies. Like movies, or nowadays, like movies are such a machine as far as like how they're edited, and like really stylistic flourishes like this I feel like don't even exist anymore. It's better than movies now.
Damn. Hot take. I think you can see this stuff. But yeah, it's definitely not super mainstream. I guess the plot of this movie is like not the most notable thing about it. I feel like it's sort of a mix of a lot of kind of 1910s, 1920s storytelling things of like poverty and murder and love triangles and that sort of thing.
I mean, yeah, I think this handles it in a much more mature way than
Well,
some
yeah,
of this other
for sure.
stuff, though.
Right. It's like on paper, it's like, oh yeah, this is what a lot of dramas from this time period about. But the way that it's executed is so much more simultaneously like more subtle, and also I feel like the like really dramatic bits are incredibly striking and dramatic. I mean, this movie opens with an axe murder.
Yeah.
And it is upsetting.
Yeah. And that axe murder, the way that it is depicted is so good. It's like so it's got all this quick cutting, like this almost like Psycho style like stabbing like past the camera to kind of, not show all of the gore, but like to get the feeling across. And the main thing, what a splash at the beginning of this movie. And the main thing that it serves, it's not even like the main thing that the movie's about, which I was kind of surprised about. The main thing it serves is just to kind of like establish this kind of emotional context for the two main characters.
Yeah, it is funny that the axe murder is like kind of incidental to the rest of the movie. Like it's sort of setting up the rest of it, but it's like the movie's not actually about this like horrific murder that it opens with. It's about two sisters who survive the axe murderer. Their parents are killed, and yeah, the whole movie's like very ominous, very kind of nightmarish and surreal. I feel like, even if its visuals aren't necessarily that out there, just it creates this really kind of intense tone through the whole.
Yeah, there's a lot of like brooding in this movie, and like the brooding is emphasized by the editing. One thing that I wanted to mention about the murder at the beginning before we hop into the main story also is that it was doing something really wild, which it seemed to be like, as the murder was happening, cross-cutting between the present and the future.
Mm-hmm.
So it was showing the murder happening and then showing the people like finding the body later and like back and forth, which is wild. Like it's really interesting.
There's a lot of like playing around with time and space in the edits in this, which is a thing that feels really kind of experimental and adventurous for when this was made.
And it feels really cohesive. It works really well.
Yeah. There's a lot of kind of Soviet style Eisenstein or Ziga Vertov-esque edits going on, but it feels so... I think especially with the Ziga Vertov stuff that we've seen, that just feels experimental for the sake of experimentation, of just sort of like, I don't know, does this work? Which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it's like, I feel like in this, it's really being used for like a clear narrative purpose.
Yes.
Which makes it stand out for sure.
Which I think it brings this kind of like practical usage to the kind of formless experimentation, shapeless experimentation that Vertov did in Kino Eye. I think of this movie as like fulfilling on... It's like Kino Eye asks a question of what the cinematic lens can be, and this movie is coming up with an answer in light of all of the kind of experimentation that Vertov did.
Yeah.
I think this and what we could talk about next, A Page of Madness, are both very post Kino Eye in that way.
Yeah. For all of its sort of like formal experimentation stuff, which is all really impressive, the thing that really makes this one stick out to me the most is because it got a really kind of genuine emotional reaction out of me also.
Yeah.
Like, I teared up watching this movie, which hasn't happened that many times on like watching stuff for the podcast. There's a really incredible scene where one of the two sisters, and the title Ménilmontant is referring to a neighborhood in Paris where the majority of the movie takes place. And there's a scene where one of the sisters is sitting on a park bench next to an old man eating a salami and some bread. And there's no intertitles in this, I don't think. I don't think there's any at all. So there's no words over it. It's just focusing on her face. It's just letting us sit with her, right? She's going hungry because she's living in poverty, and the old man gives her some bread. And she's
her acting is incredible.
And she's crying while eating this bread. And I was just like, it's just holding on her face. And it was really moving.
Yeah, it's like this really touching moment of kindness in a movie that has a lot of misery in it. Or ennui is maybe like ennui that leads to misery.
Yeah.
The kind of bare bones plot of this movie. After the murder, the two sisters move into Paris, into the city. There's a lot of like really fantastic shots of like city life, and it's like the hustle and bustle. It's so exciting, you know. And the kind of main sister that we follow meets this guy. They start, you know, kind of going out. They eventually come to the situation where the guy is kind of like pressuring her into sex, and she's like she's not ready, I guess. She's not like super, she's like, she likes him, but she doesn't want to. And he kind of just pressures her until she does. Or she concedes, I suppose. And this, I think, is pretty unique in that most movies about this kind of situation of this time, it is like an out and out like rape, basically. Where this is presenting something like a little more pedestrian, a little more like nuanced. Not that there's anything not wrong about it, but like this is it's nuanced in terms of its approach, because she does like him but doesn't want this. And so after they have sex, she spends like 10 minutes in the movie just kind of wandering around the city in this kind of like weird, confused ennui about what is happening or what had just happened to her. And it's so emotionally like nuanced and complex. It's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like a big takeaway from this movie is like, I, along with probably most people, have this sort of like ingrained idea of like what silent movies are, and it's basically Charlie Chaplin movies. And this is like so far, and even like amongst Charlie Chaplin movies, like A Woman of Paris is like not like that at all.
Yeah.
Any movies about Paris from the 20s, man, they're wild. Even something like that is something that I think kind of thematically, even if it's touched upon in other things of other movies like this, it's usually not handled with the degree of nuance that this sort of approaches it with. She sees, after this, ennui stuff, there's a scene where the younger sister sees the man that she's with, this Conrad Veidt looking dude. It's not Conrad Veidt, but he has a similar kind of like sharp-faced man look to him,
but a little more French.
Yeah, exactly.
It's got a French vibe.
But so he sees this guy with she like follows him and sees her with her older sister, and discovers that he's two-timing her. And there's this sort of jump cut edits into her face, and it's the way that it's framed and the way that it's edited is like the same. It's kind of mirroring the scene where like she discovers that her parents have been murdered. Which is just a great use of like film language to be like, oh, this is like taking the emotion of one thing and kind of applying it onto another scene just through sort of like the way it's shot and edited, which is great.
Yeah, that's cool. I didn't notice that. There's so much, like, this is like the most kind of emotionally complex and rich movie that I feel like we've seen so far.
And I think I think it's interesting like reading like plot synopses of it too, because like there's things in it that I think are genuinely kind of meant to be read more than one way. Like there's a scene where the older sister is having this kind of weird dream and is looking at the empty side of her bed, and at first it kind of seems like she's worrying about her younger sister because like they grew up together, and she's looking at this empty side of the bed, and like, this is all done purely just through visual, so it's like you can't really tell what she's thinking about. But then given what happens later in the movie, it could just as easily be her thinking about the man they're both sleeping with. Like I don't know, just that too, of sort of like having some ambiguity and having things that mean multiple things is also like not super common, I guess, in a lot of stuff that maybe that's not true, but I don't know, that for whatever reason that scene stuck out to me also.
Yeah, backing up to like real quick, I gotta mention that like we've kind of had sex scenes in movies before, but like they are usually they're usually rape scenes, honestly. Which is
an unfortunate amount of them are. Yeah.
And they're never, I guess they're never shot to be sexy. They're shot to be scary. And though this is not something that she was into, reaching into that like emotional complexity. This is almost like the first proper sex scene that we've seen in a movie. It's got this like superimposition of like rushing cars going by, like on top of like footage of kind of ambiguous nudity behind like all of this imagery. And like it's very like evocative in a fairly like artistic way. So I just thought I should shout that out.
Yeah.
Um, the way this movie wraps up is what?
Just the way this movie wraps up is, you know, it's not really funny. I don't know why I'm laughing at it, but
No. So the guy like basically ditches her after this encounter. And she ends up getting pregnant and is kind of like rejected by many people.
Yeah, she's like shunned by all of society, seemingly.
Yeah.
Which I think that we've seen in other movies too, where like pregnant women are treated as like vermin, and they're like forced to like live on the street and like give up their babies at a church or something like that's been in like at least 3 other things we've watched, I feel like.
Right. So yeah, she ends up on the street with a baby, and she later, as she, you know, there's this moment that you were talking about earlier with her kind of being hungry and this like really nice old man kind of sitting on the bench eating salami and then hands some salami to her. It's so touching.
Yeah.
And eventually she runs into her sister again. Her sister almost like doesn't even recognize her. Her sister's with that guy at this point, and she is kind of living a kind of fabulous flapper lifestyle. She's wearing really nice clothes, and so the main sister who we're mainly following kind of approaches the other one, and you kind of think that it's going to be going for this sort of love triangle thing of of the two of them like fighting it out over this guy, like I want to get this guy back or something. But really it's like this kind of moment of like understanding and tenderness between the two of them, where the sisters start, you know, kind of helping each other out and like raising the baby. Yes. And then at the same time there's this other thread that develops of the guy is seeing yet another woman in the chain, and then there's another guy who that woman was with, who is now trying to get revenge on the sucky guy from earlier, and you don't even see much context of who these people are. You just know that they were similarly jilted by this scumbag, and then they kill him.
They smash his head in, which is also kind of like, that's like at the very end, then it is again kind of like mirroring the beginning, like the opening murder scene. Good stuff.
Yeah. A movie about wandering around in various states of misfortune, bookended by murder.
Yeah. But I was kind of blown away by this. I thought it was really, really good.
Yeah.
And I'd never heard of it before, like when we recorded the last episode, I never heard of it.
Yeah. This is one that Jack Vernick, who we had on for the Irma episode, has been hyping up to me for months. Yeah, this is one of his favorite movies. Mine too. I thought it was great.
Yeah, it feels like one of those sort of like real, when you get real deep into like silent movies, you find this one. It's like, oh no, this one doesn't get talked about maybe as much as it ought to, but it's very good.